Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of The Claw and the King. I'm once again joined by my co-host Oops. How you doing, mate?
I'm glad you gathered your words there.
Yeah, a little bit of a
I'm actually
fumble.
doing well. I was doing well before this morning, I'd say, in terms of the sports world and the sports sort of view. Obviously, we had a tragic death, which we'll go on to a bit later. But yeah, I mean, the bright news: the Clippers won, and I swore on this good old handy Bible, and we won twice. I didn't even get to do the second game, preview for the second game, before we already beat them again by 20. I mean, it was lovely stuff, especially from a team that doesn't even have their three best players. So that all average over 20 points a game. Just saying.
Yeah.
So in essence, the Clippers are going to be the best team in the league for the next 5 years. I think that's just it. I think that's a given. I think that's a given at this point.
All right. Okay. Before we get on to the in-depth basketball chat, there has been some sad news today in Australia and the world, but Australia specifically with the tragic passing of Shane Warne. So we just wanted to sort of say something at the start of the show, little tribute, pay our respects to one of the GOATs. Just before we get started, I mean, for me, I mean, we weren't really old enough to watch him play, especially in his prime. But you listen to him on the commentary every year, and he's a part of your house. Every summer you hear him on the TV, you hear people talk of his greatness, and you just respect him for what he does. He's sort of a typical Aussie bloke, likes to get around it, has a bit of a party, a few indiscretions. But that's what makes you Aussie.
Yeah,
that's what makes you Aussie.
I mean, who wouldn't? If you had fame and success and money, who wouldn't smoke it up, drink it up, party it up, do whatever? I mean, he's a classic Australian sports icon, and it's just sad. It's the same thing with Kobe for me. I acknowledged it, but I couldn't really come to the realization that he was dead because you've seen him so much growing up. You saw him, even though we didn't watch Shane Warne, he's always commentating the Ashes or every Australian sort of major tour, and it's just he's always in the media. You always see him, and when people like that die, it's very hard to sort of gauge. Gauge is the wrong word. It's kind of hard to comprehend that they're actually gone and you won't see them anymore. It'll probably take a couple months for me to realize that he's not going to be commentating on the Ashes anymore, or tour of South Africa for Australia. It's very, very sad, and he meant a lot to a lot of Australians, and there's nothing really you can sort of add on to it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, with the Kobe thing, like, I was the same. I didn't really, it doesn't really feel real. But then when I watched the 75 presentation of the All-Star game, and he wasn't there, I was like, fuck. Like, he should be there.
Yeah.
It would be so much better if he was there. And it's just sad.
And I think it's tragic, especially since these sort of deaths just happen like that. It's not like they got a diagnosis for a terminal illness or something and you sort of come to grips with the fact that they die. It's just 1 minute. I mean, 2 weeks ago he was chatting about how Justin Langer was unjustly sort of fired from the Australian cricket team, and then now he's not here. So it's very hard to sort of comprehend when you have your sports heroes just taken away like that when you don't expect it. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. But yeah, just rest in peace, Warnie.
I mean, I'm an England cricket fan, but you got to respect Warnie.
Yeah.
He's my favorite. Even though he got a lot of stick for some of his commentary, he was my favorite commentator for sure.
All right. Yeah. I reckon. Yeah. I think we'll leave it there.
Bumble's the best. Warnie was a close second.
We can go into a commentary debate later. All right. Okay, we'll leave it there. We'll move on to basketball. Little bit of a weird transition, but
we got to just move.
Got to do it. So yeah, as you touched on at the start of the show, the Clippers did unfortunately beat the Lakers twice in 1 week, and they weren't our only losses, unfortunately. We also went down to the Pelicans. So yeah, I mean, I think it's official that the Lakers are done, and I just want to sort of go on a rant and just shit on everybody in that franchise for a second.
Okay. I'll just put the mic down, have a bit of a relax.
So I'll start with the ownership. Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, you guys suck. You're an embarrassment of an ownership group. The fact that you could have got John Wall for Russell Westbrook and you said no, are you fucking kidding me? John Wall is worth about 45 Russell Westbrooks. I mean, one of the worst decisions I've ever seen in my life. Firstly, getting him was one of the worst decisions, but then choosing to keep him, that's an even worse decision. Just some abysmal management. Also, the fact that they haven't fired Frank Vogel yet is a joke. The man clearly can't coach for shit. The players are out there doing nothing. They're just running up and down, throwing the ball away, not even caring. He's clearly a defensive coach who doesn't know anything about offense because there is no offense. I haven't seen a single offensive play or a scheme or anything. We don't have a style of offense. We give the ball to LeBron, and if he tries, he scores or he throws it away. All right. So yeah, Frank's got to go. He's got to go. After that, we'll start with Westbrook, I guess. Russell Westbrook, you are trash. Okay, you're trash. You've got to admit at this point.
The truth.
Yeah, you are trash. I've never seen, watching that Pelicans game, I've never seen a worse basketball performance, I don't think, in my life. Every single shot you take doesn't have a chance at going in. Every single shot doesn't have a chance. The only ones you get in are the fucking fluky layups where you just throw it behind your head and it goes in. They're the only shots you can make. You can't make wide open layups. Oh my God. You can't pass anymore. You can't even pass anymore. You're a point guard. You throw it to the other team more than you throw it to your own team. It's embarrassing. Who else is on the team? I can't even remember. Who's the white guy? Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is an undrafted rookie starting on the Los Angeles Lakers. An undrafted rookie is starting on a championship contending team. What a joke. He can't play either, and Frank Vogel's just sending him out like, come on, mate, save our season. It's not that hard. He makes 1 3 for every 7 he bricks. He can't defend because he's too short and unathletic. And he's just out there playing 30 minutes a game, just doing nothing. It's an absolute joke. Trevor Ariza is starting. Trevor Ariza can't even run up and down the court anymore. He needs to stand at our own 3-point line to get in position to defend our basket. There's no point in him crossing half court. It's an absolute disgrace that he's a starter for the Lakers. Dwight Howard is our best starter. He's the only player that has some sort of positive impact. And he's so limited. All he can do is fucking rebound and then finish a layup. Fucking, apart from LeBron, the whole team is a joke. Melo comes on. Melo's good. I'll give Melo his shine. Melo is the one player that I like on that team and what he's doing at the moment. Taylor Horton-Tucker. You, my friend, are trash. I don't know who is gassing you up, who you think you are taking these step-back threes. You're trash. You can't shoot. You can't dribble. You can't finish. You can't do anything. I don't know why you're on the floor thinking you're doing something, but you're not. So just get the fuck off the floor. Who else? DeAndre Jordan. You were on the team, mate. And then you threw the ball to Philly where you ended up landing. So congrats, mate, I guess. You found yourself in a better situation. Who else? I can't even think of who else is on the team. Kent Bazemore's out there getting minutes now. That's actually better. He was decent. Frank Vogel's rotations are so garbage that he plays the same shitty 7 players every game. Like, fucking play Wayne Ellington. I don't give a fuck. Kendrick Nunn, what are you doing on the bench, cunt? Fucking play. No one even knows what your injury is. We signed you on a 1-year deal and you haven't even got dressed yet. I don't even know what his injury is. Fucking play, mate. Anthony Davis. This is your last chance, Anthony. If you can't come back before the playoffs and get us in the playoffs and win a series or something, if you can't play well, you got to go, mate. You got to go. We got to trade you while you still have some value, because this season is a complete write-off. It'll be a miracle if we even make the playoffs at this rate. It is just one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life, and it's an embarrassment to the game of basketball how this team plays.
Well, that was a lovely rant that I just brief. I heard it in my peripheral. It was just sort of in the background. I was reading the Bible, but I mean, to be expected really after the shocking sort of month that you guys have had. I mean, I watched the game. It's like you've got it. It's got to be It's got to be partly LeBron's fault, and I know obviously his play is not at fault, but his creation of the team was his idea. You could have got a Buddy Hield in a trade. You could have got good, solid pieces.
We could have got DeRozan.
You could have got pieces in a trade, but you wanted the big name.
We could
Westbrook.
have got a top 5 MVP player, but we got Westbrook.
Yeah.
A bottom 5 player in the league, and that's lucky. He's lucky to be not bottom 1.
Yeah,
lucky to be bottom 5.
I think the makeup of the team is all wrong. It's too old. It's too slow. And I think you see that in how they play. They go on runs. I mean, that's how they score. They have probably periods in which they're very good. You know, you watch the game. They went on a 14-0 run in the end of the second quarter. But then, again, they give up a 24-0 run. So
they just pass the ball to the other team. They're like, "Oh, mate, we're catching up. Here you go. You want a fast break dunk? Have a few of them. Have a few of them."
It was embarrassing when Zubac was beating up all your players. Beating like your point guards up the court. Like he was getting open dunks in transition, which is pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
But look, the Lakers just have a litany of problems. It's just an absolute shit show over in Lake Show. But
more than a shit show.
I mean, I can't say that I'm not happy about it. It's a wonderful scenario for the Clippers because we're officially the best team in LA for, probably 10 years running.
What about the time we won the championship?
Does that even count? There was nobody there.
Yeah,
Do we even know it happened? I mean, it's like, is there any evidence? There's nobody attended it. It could have been just a
bit of evidence.
High graphic 2K game for all I know. I mean, nobody went. Nobody knows. It's not. I mean, it's a 2K game in Disneyland. Does it really count? No. Other than that, sort of whatever you want to call that season, the first season LeBron was there. They were semi-decent. Then he got injured, and then they tanked the rest of the year. And then
imagine if LeBron didn't get injured and we didn't need a tank and we didn't end up making that trade.
Well, that's the funny thing. Ever since he's gone to the Lakers, he's been the most injury-prone player in the league, behind Anthony Davis. But before that, at the Cavs,
if he didn't get injured, we would have kept Ingram. We would have kept Lonzo. We would have kept all these players.
Well, you could have kept those players anyway, but you traded for the most injury-prone player in the league, which was great idea. I mean, those guys are all all-stars, aren't they? Or borderline all-stars. And you probably could have a better team right now because you'd actually have players that play basketball and not just sit on the sidelines. Yeah. But yeah, the makeup of your team, again, the makeup of the Clippers is not great if you look at the future. But we don't rely on... The difference is we rely on...
It's decent. Like, you got a few years left of Kawhi and PG.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We've got good years left of our existing players. We don't have any picks. And we've got a veteran squad. But the difference is we rely on 30-year-olds and 31-year-olds. They rely on 37-year-olds and 38-year-olds. So it's a bit far off. They'd have a great all-star team in 2010, you'd have such a good team. Dwight Howard, Carmelo.
You know that Lakers team with Steve Nash and Kobe and Dwight.
Yeah,
that tank. This is the exact same team.
It's worse than
just
that.
10 years later. It's worse than that, but the same principles, really.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's always
next year. What the fuck were they thinking? Not trading Westbrook.
I don't know. It was a pretty.
We could have got John Wall.
Well, yeah, John Wall would be a much better player for you guys, but look.
Oh my god.
You're just run by idiots. You got lucky because you got the best player in the world and you won in a Disneyland bubble that no one saw, so did it really happen? No. Other than that, I mean, you could have got Ty Lue as a coach who's one of the best coaches in the league, but, you know, but you didn't want to offer him a long-term contract. You just wanted him.
Why don't we just make Fizdale the coach? Fuck it.
I mean, Vogel, I think... You look at the weapons he
has no respect. The players don't care what he says.
Vogel was known in Indiana as a great defensive coach. But it's seeming more like it was more the personnel. Because if you look at the team, you had George Hill, great defender. Paul George, great defender. Danny Granger, great defender. David West, great defender. Roy Hibbert, at that time, was a great defender. So I think he had Lance Stevenson, great defender. So he had a lot of...
That Miles Turner?
No, not back then, very...
Sorry. He's been around a while.
God, this guy's basketball. But I think when he has the personnel, he's a good defensive coach. And you saw that when they won the Mickey Mouse tournament. But
you have to be able to coach offense.
That's the problem.
You can't be a one-dimensional coach.
Well, and look, he's not making the team any better defensively now. I think you've got to... See, I don't even know where the Lakers go because you can't exactly get rid of LeBron James because he's still an unbelievable player. But can you build around him? Can you create enough salary cap or get a... I mean, you've got to really get lucky. They've got to, get an all-star level player at the 30th pick or something, or the 18th pick, or something like that. They've got to somehow get a steal in the draft and then get a steal in free agency to sort of revolutionize it. Because you look at the young talent, Austin Reeves, is he really going to solve anything?
No, he's trash. He makes it worse.
Yeah, you look at the young players that you've got. Malik Monk is probably the best young player you've got, and yet
he's not even young. He's like 25.
Well, he's the best player with a bit of youth that you've got, and he's on a 1-year contract, and you don't pay over the luxury tax, so you won't be resigning him for more than the minimum. So you're kind of in a situation where you're stuck. You're stuck with either these. Now, look, Anthony Davis, when healthy, is a terrific player. So it's not impossible for them to make a run.
We just have to not play him in the regular season.
But yeah,
we have to somehow make the play-in tournament and then just start him in the play-in tournament.
He's just way too injury prone. However, when he plays, he's a great player. And when LeBron plays with him, they work really, really well together. So I wouldn't say it's over for the future. It's over for this season. I think nobody thinks they're going to win this season. But I think for the future, if they can retool and sort of somehow get it out of Westbrook's contract, somehow find a way to offload it and get a decent free agent and a good steal in the draft and sort of reshape it almost and pray to God that they get some luck with injuries, it's possible that they could sort of make another run at it. But, it is what it is. I think the Clippers are going to come back stronger next year, though. I think the Nuggets with Jamal Murray are going to be better.
Is Jamal Murray coming back this year?
He's been out for a long time. I don't know.
Yeah, he should be back by now.
But they're going to have Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray back next year. The Suns are really young, so they'll keep on improving.
Except their best player is really old.
Yeah, but I mean, Devin Booker's still young. Mikal Bridges is still young. Cam Johnson's still young. DeAndre Ayton's still young. So they got a young core still. Golden State, when Klay's back fully healthy, Draymond's fully healthy, Steph fully healthy, they're a great team. So there's too many teams out west for you to be... And people saying the East is better. No, the West is just injured right now. I think the East is solid, and it's much better than it was, and the talent sort of...
The East is definitely more interesting.
Well, that's what I'm saying this season, because of the injury problems. But if you add sort of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to the Clippers, you add Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. to the Nuggets, you're talking about a completely different West at the moment. But look, the Lakers can definitely make a comeback. They got, they live in they're in LA, the Tinsel Town. They got,
I don't know. I don't know if we
fans.
can. I'm predicting another post Kobe, just 10 years of suffering.
It's not. Well, maybe, but not next year. You've got LeBron, so there's no way that happens. You just made this roster the worst possible way possible. Like LeBron, this is the most amount of games LeBron James could possibly lose in a season. Like, this is the worst case scenario for this season.
Yeah,
this was the worst it could have happened.
This is worse. This is worse than what the worst was predicted to be.
No, well, I mean, we were on this podcast, and I remember vehemently saying Russell Westbrook is not a good fit with this roster. He's way too.
There's not a good fit, and then there's this.
Yeah, I said that Russell Westbrook historically does not work well with people that dominate the ball. And you could say Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant would be the best player at every position on a basketball court. He could play without the ball if you need him to. So when Russell Westbrook was with Paul George and Carmelo, and they both needed the ball, the team sucked. And
they were like 4th or 5th seed.
Well, it didn't suck, but they sort of didn't get out the first round, it was not great. But the thing with Westbrook is he relies so much on the ball and confidence and sort of engagement that when he's in this sort of slump, there's no way that he can get himself out because he's not a great shooter. He's not...
Not a great shooter.
Well, I mean, he's declined in shooting. I thought he was a way better shooter in OKC than he is now.
This is the worst shooting I've ever seen in my life. I'd rather have Ben Simmons shooting.
No, you wouldn't.
I would.
you wouldn't rather have Ben Simmons shooting.
No, I would.
I don't think you would, man.
Hand on heart, I would.
I don't think you would. But look, it's not a work in progress, but there's a possibility for change. I think we should move on from the Lakers. I think
Yeah,
the listeners
we
have had enough
can
of your,
leave it there.
sort
Going
of
to
chit-chat.
the opposite end of the spectrum, a team that's looking really good right now is Philadelphia.
Do we have to talk? Okay, I'll say,
Well, I'm surprised at how fast it's clicked.
mate. Okay, I'll talk about it for 20 seconds. We'll move on. They're a great team with a great group of players with good chemistry that play well together, that sort of fit. The reason why they won't win is because their coach sucks. Being a Clippers fan, watching this guy be unable to make changes in the playoffs and have any sort of change or any sort of
Adaptability.
thank you for the word, adaptability in the playoffs was just remarkable. How bad he was at the and how people call him this great coach. He was awful. He had a plethora of talent at the Clippers, wasted it, absolutely wasted it. Blew 2 3-1 leads, goes to Philadelphia, and then loses again against the Hawks. So we can all say that, you know, that their talent's great. James Harden works well with Embiid. But there's no way on planet Earth that they win when they've got Doc Rivers as head coach. Okay?
Okay.
There's just no way.
Remains to be seen,
There's just
but
no way. We went to the Western Conference Finals. He had Lob City. He had Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, and Blake Griffin all in their primes. The furthest he got was the second round. We didn't have our center and Kawhi Leonard, our two starting centers, and Kawhi Leonard against for the majority of for half the playoffs last year, and we went the furthest in our history. Went to the Western Conference Finals. So I mean, if that doesn't tell you that it's completely up to coaching, and the year before we blew a 3-1 lead to Denver. I mean, it was in Mickey Mouse land, but still, we still blew a 3-1 lead. There's no way that they win, so I don't know why we're talking about the 76ers when they're probably going to, I mean, 76ers fans are crazy and they probably think that they're going to win, but they're not going to
I mean,
win.
I'd think I was going to win if the team was looking like this.
I just have way more faith in the Bucks. Even the
The
Heat.
Bucks.
The Bucks are I have way more faith.
I've always been on the Heat.
Well,
I reckon Heat.
I don't think the Heat are going to win. I think the Bucks are going to get out the East, but I'd pick the Nets over them, even for this year, even though they're in the play-in tournament. I picked the Nets over them. I picked the Bucks over them. I haven't picked the Heat.
Chicago? No, you can't pick Chicago over them.
Maybe. I mean,
I don't think so.
Chicago have got a coach that can coach basketball, so maybe. Look, Doc Rivers is historically with the Clippers was a great regular season coach. Poor postseason one. So we'll just have to see to the
We'll leave
postseason.
it there then. We'll see if they choke again.
There's no we'll see. It's going to happen, but yes.
Okay, we'll watch for their choke.
Okay.
All right. So back from popular demand from last week, we had that starting 5 segment with the Kardashians. So this week we've gone for a different theme. We've gone for different teams this week. So we can just
I'll
have different
kick
opinions.
my team off first.
Okay.
So
Do you want to tell them what the topic is?
I shall.
Okay.
I'll take over. So we're very topical on this show, I'd say. We're very in tune with society and the news. So we decided, you know what? What is a starting 5 that would go to war, that we'd take to war? Okay, if somebody in some distant land, Russia, or like demanded that we serve with these NBA players in their current positions. Well, it's got to be positional wise because everyone would just pick, the biggest, strongest center. So yeah, starting 5 of a team that you take to war.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, me and Oscar have had a sneak peek at our lists. He laughed.
When I saw this list, I started crying with laughter.
We've gone for different strategies.
There's no way.
We've gone for very different.
No way in hell this team could beat mine.
Yeah, but we've gone for different strategies though. You've gone for like the classic, bruiser. I've gone for like, who's going to make the real difference here? You've gone for like the typical soldiers. I've gone for the ones that are going to make the difference. The ones that's going to change the war
Make
at
the difference.
the flip of a switch.
Okay.
Okay. So at point, we both have this player, Marcus Smart, the most annoying player in the league. I was close to picking Pat Bev, but Pat Bev, having experience of watching the guy, he's like the mate that talks a big game on prees and then on the night out just has no ability, just gets nothing, absolutely nowhere. It's like a mate we know that we were discussing about, but we won't get into that child. But no, Pat Bev, I don't think is as good a defender as Marcus Smart. And I think even though Marcus Smart flops a lot, which I sort of took into account with my decision, but I decided to go with him. He's probably the toughest point guard in the league. He's strong. You know, he's got acne scars, so he looks hard. You know, he's a real...
That looks hard?
Yeah. He looks like he's been through shit. Don't you think? He looks like he's been through shit.
Yeah, he's a bit disheveled.
He's a bit out there, but he'd be perfect for the Grizzlies or something. If it was an all-time list, I'd have Tony Allen in there like tomorrow, but just current teams. Now, that was like the obvious choice. I think everyone would have had like a Marcus Smart in there. Now, my 2 guard, Caruso. Now, Oscar had a good old laugh about this.
Alex Caruso.
I've got a reasoning.
Oh,
He is known as Jesus, is he not?
I guess.
Of the NBA. Now, if Jesus walked...
I don't think Jesus has much impact on war.
Yeah, but if Jesus walked into an armed conflict, I think the conflict would stop, especially between 2 Christian countries.
Okay.
So I think when you have a figure, when you have a aura of a Jesus-like character walking into the battlefield with you, I think your fellow comrades feel empowered. They feel like they got a bit of pep in their step, you know? They got a bit of cojones.
Okay.
I think if you have Jesus on your team in a war, you win. So that's why I picked Caruso. Now,
I think he's so white. He's like a light beam for the enemy.
yeah, and
Like
he's bold.
he just points out where you are. You're like, I'm over here, guys, and then load him up, send him in.
He's just like an angel figure. He's pale, so he'd just be like, he looks like an angel figure. So that's another reason why I picked him.
Caruso would get killed instantly.
Caruso, he's just such a godlike figure that I just couldn't ignore him. 3, Kawhi, not because I'm a Clipper fan, but he's the most boring. Like, if you asked him to do something in the war, like he's a soldier. He is the classical soldier. Yes, boss, no boss.
He would say, no, my thigh's still sore.
That is a probability. But if he wasn't injured or had a niggle in his thigh, he'd be the most... He wouldn't chat back when I'm commanding him to do something. He'd be like, do you want to kill all these civilians? Yes, boss. He'd be a very good sort of soldier. And that's even... I look at my lineup and I try to get a bit of balance here. I've got
just a horrendous
I've got a couple sort of alpha males in there. I need a guy that's going to be very, very soldier-like. And I felt Kawhi, and he's also very strong.
I mean, they call him a cyborg, don't they?
Yeah, he's a strong sort of robot that you need. So that's why Kawhi, I don't know why you didn't have him in there, because he's a classical soldier sort of type. Now 4, this is my controversial pick. Now, I don't mean to be rude, because I am no beauty in the eyes of anyone, really, but...
Don't be harsh on yourself.
I just go on without...
Nobody loves me.
So, I picked Tony Snell here as my 4. Now, you may say, why Tony Snell? He's never been a true sort of... He's been a sort of bounce around the league. Now, if you looked at Tony Snell on the other team, on the other sort of
I would think,
camp,
fuck, this is going to be easy.
I'd be thinking, fuck, that dude, that is an ugly motherfucker. I want to get out of here as quickly as possible. Is this what this guy was a supermodel before he came to war, and he turned into Tony Snell? If war's going to make me turn out like that, I'm fucking off home. No, but yeah, he looks like he's been through stuff. Again, another one. He looks like he's just depressed the entire time. He looks like he's like
right.
Dead inside. And I'd be scared to fight Tony Snell. Like Tony Snell, like you don't want if you come up against a bunch of, pretty boys or supermodels, you come up against, I don't know, he's an attractive NBA. If Kelly Oubre is on the other side, I'm like, look at all these fucking posers. You come up against Tony Snell and Caruso. Are you kidding me? I would be scared shitless. Tony Snell and Caruso. I mean, my God.
I mean, you're selling it. I don't know if I'm buying it.
You have the ugliest guy in the history of the NBA and the most Jesus lookalike. I mean, Jesus. Well, I don't want to say Jesus. I don't want to stick to that, but he's godlike. Definitely Caruso.
We're not going to stick with Jesus. We're going to go up to God.
But he is. I think he's a godlike figure. Now 5, I've got. Now, that was I think that's pretty self-explanatory, the reasons why I picked them. I think my list wins.
Okay.
But for my number 5, I go Boban. Now, Bobby, I was going to pick his center, but I didn't want to be, a copycat. So I picked Bobby, mainly because he's just a laugh to have around. He's a good old laugh to have around. He's a good, solid guy. Keep morale up. He's a big motherfucker, so he could reach things that you need to get.
That's helpful in war. Can reach things.
If there's a gun at the top of a shelf of a cupboard or in like a house that you're raiding or something.
Right.
In that scenario, he'd be perfect.
He can reach the people hiding in their attics.
Now the problem is he'd be killed quite early because he's quite a big target. So
and he has 0 mobility.
But in terms of morale, I'd like to have him in the team. My team was picked on. You've got to create a team. You got to.
Your team is picked on dying happily.
No, the team's picked on having different people with individual strengths. Now you've picked a team full of I go to the gym. Those type of guys.
I picked a team of winners.
I picked a team of different talents. You picked a team of boring cunts. No. I picked a team of talents. So I think that's sort of self-explanatory. And I think my team will definitely win. I think my team is way better than yours. I mean, your point guard, I don't know why. He'd just be rapping.
I'll explain why.
He'll be rapping in the trenches. He's like, Dame Dollar. All right, go.
Just be telling people my list, will you?
I mean, you hear it in 2 seconds. Okay, here we go. 5, 4,
point
3,
guard,
2, 1.
Dame Dollar. Point guard, Dame Dollar.
Why?
Well, my one. Why? Because he's a silent killer on the court. And I think he could be a really good sniper off the court.
He chats so much. He talks about he wants to leave every 3 seconds. He's not silent, is he?
No, he is silent. He doesn't talk shit in games. He just fucking...
He does talk shit.
Not really. He's quiet.
Kawhi doesn't talk shit.
Dame is quiet and he kills people. So I'm thinking we'd perch him up in like some sort of high place, give him a sniper, and he will just take everyone out. That's my plan for Dame. Also, he's tough. He's tough. He's tough.
Relative. He's a good shooter. The sniper's an analogy. It's not an actual. He's not actually a good sniper. You know that, right?
Yes, I realise that.
God, this guy's an idiot. Oh my God.
Okay, moving on from Dame. Dame would kill your whole team, but yeah. At the
kill
2,
Tony Snell. Good luck.
At the 2, I was gonna have Klay Thompson just because I feel like he's tough, but I went with Smart. You had Smart as well. He's he's just known as a tough guy. I'm sure he can throw some hands. So I think Smart's sort of a good bloke to have in the squad. At 3, I did have Marcus Morris, but I just fucking hate him too much, so I kicked him out.
I should have had
Morris. And I thought you were gonna have Morris, so I took him out for that reason.
It's a good pick, to be fair. He gets in fights all the time, but
yeah. But I've replaced him with LeBron. LeBron is he's from Akron, all right? He grew up in the hood. He knows how to fight.
Mate, 90% of fucking NBA players grew up in the...
Yeah, but LeBron, he's bigger and stronger, and he's better than all of them. So I'm taking LeBron. Also, he's the most famous player in the world, so he has got money. He's got sponsors. We are never going to run out of ammunition.
You think Nike's sponsoring the Ukraine-Russian conflict?
I think if LeBron was in it, they would, yes.
Yeah.
I think they would send some tanks for LeBron.
Okay.
And we can use that to destroy you. At 4, I've got James Johnson. James Johnson is every time on commentary, whenever this guy comes on the floor, this is the one thing commentators talk about. Don't get in a fight with him. He trains MMA. He's really good at fighting. So, fuck it. He's in my team because apparently he's really good at fighting. Is he a good player? No, but he can fight. So, fuck it. You're on the team. At 5, I've got Steven Adams. Pretty self-explanatory. The dude is the strongest player in the league. He could manhandle anyone easily, but he's also nice about it. So you're gonna die, and he'll probably say sorry.
You've picked on the boring list,
so
let's go with LeBron.
The boring list.
Let's go with
my list isn't boring. It's
You just again, you've done with the
It's
classical.
dominant. My list is dominant.
You've done with you picked all the classical tough guys. That are trying to. I mean, Dame is a weird pick. He's the weirdest pick I've ever seen.
Oh, Caruso's not a weird pick.
Now, I wish I would have had DeRozan in there, to be fair. I should have picked him because if I could get, if you know DeRozan's background, he knows a few geezers that have got up to a bit of mischief in his past. So if I could bring them along with him.
No, you can't.
Or I would pick Jokic and take his brothers with him. They seem pretty hard. So I didn't pick those guys because that came with stipulations. I don't want DeRozan. I don't want Jokic by himself. But if they could bring
I'd rather have Jokic than Boban. And I'd rather have DeRozan than Caruso. So
Caruso is white Jesus. And Jesus was not white, by the way. He was Middle Eastern. So I can say white Jesus.
Really? You met Jesus and you saw his ethnic.
Well, based on
his ethnicity.
Based on time period, there was no possible way that he was white. But hey, we're not getting sort of religious on this podcast. The only Bible here is the Sir Alex Ferguson autobiography. But Caruso was a no-brainer. I mean, are you kidding me? To have a godlike figure fighting for you, just
the fuck does that even mean?
Why would you not pick him? He's a god. He's a god.
Because he can't do shit. He's going to get destroyed.
Yeah, but he's a god. He's a godlike figure. Why wouldn't you want that? He would dodge bullets. That's the kind of guy that I want on my team. You pick your average bum soldiers, and I picked, the Avengers, essentially.
Okay. All right. Well,
they've all got individual talents that nobody else has got on your team.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, leave it in the comments who you think won. All right.
I think I won because
clearly
I assembled the Avengers. He assembled your shitty back-ass reserve army. So there you go.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll leave that for now. Over to you, mate.
About what?
Your babies.
My babies? What are my babies? My babies. Did I give birth to children? What? It's a baby. If you're gonna do it, you can't do plural.
They're players.
Okay. Manchester United.
Embarrassment that was.
I mean, at this point, it's like we actually played.
It's basically the same thing being said every week.
I mean, Watford's the worst team in the Prem. We should have scored 7 chances. Bruno missed 3 open goals. I mean,
I told you Bruno was shit.
He's not shit. Okay, he had 2 bad games. It was just woeful to watch. You were just watching it, and at half time, I knew that we're gonna draw this game. There's no way that we're scoring. How on earth we didn't score? It was ridiculous. The amount of chances that we had. I mean, under Ralph Rangnick, we've created the most chances in the Premier League since he's been appointed, and yet
we score 1 goal a month.
We can't score. It's ridiculous. Like, we complain all year that the forwards aren't getting service, and when they get service, they're woeful. But Sancho's kind of emerged. He's been good under Rangnick, but it's been, oh my God, it's been terrible. Look, the Premier League, we need to get top 4, but I don't think it's happening. I think Arsenal, with that draw, I think Arsenal have sort of secured it now, and we've got a really tough, I know Arsenal got a tough schedule as well, but we've got a really tough one over the next couple months because we got Spurs, we got Man City next, and then we got Spurs in there, we've got Liverpool in there, we've got the obviously Atletico Madrid tie. We've got a really, really tough couple run of games that I don't think we're going to get much points from in the league. So I just think top 4 would have to take a miracle. It'd have to take Tottenham. We'd have to get probably 6 points at least from those 3 games: Liverpool, Spurs, and Man City. We'd have to get 6 points from them. So we'd have to upset either Man City or Liverpool and beat Tottenham for us to still have a chance. So I just don't see us getting top 4. Now the only way we can save the season by some long shot, by some miracle, by some unbelievable thing that I would never expect would be us to win the Champions League. Now, even though we didn't play well against Atletico Madrid, we're still ahead. Like in the previous podcast I mentioned, we're still ahead in the tie technically. We've got a home leg in a 1-game scenario, essentially, because there's no away goals. So I think that if we need to just win at Old Trafford, and if we can do that, and we can move on if we can get a somewhat easier opponent like I know Ajax aren't easy, but I'd rather have them than, Chelsea or Man City or something like that. So, yeah, it'd just be, again, look at the teams. Real Madrid or PSG are going to be knocked out, so that'll be a good sort of cancellation. But still, you got PSG, Bayern Munich, all the English teams. I just don't see a way unless we somehow gain some form. Ronaldo turns into
de-ages 10 years.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes doesn't miss one-on-ones. Harry Maguire turns into Harry Beckenbauer. Scott
Fred turns into
a Brazilian. Scott McTominay is
turns into Conte.
Yeah. There has to be a lot of things for us to sort of succeed in that competition. A lot of things have to go right. But I don't see it happening personally, but hey-ho. It was a good time. The kit looks really good next year.
Hey, what?
It's leaked.
The home kit?
The leaked, yeah. It's actually looked really cool. Again, this is another Glazer thing.
Shame that Ronaldo won't be wearing it.
Yeah, so I'm just pumping the Glazers with more money now, but I actually really like the kit. I think it's cool. It's retro. It's got some retro feel to it, but that's what I'm looking forward to.
I bought the away kit this year. Or was it Turkey? I don't know which one it was, but it was sexy.
And yeah, sort of segueing, I think we should segue onto is just briefly about Super League is apparently coming back. It's the reports are not directly from the clubs, but it's from media outlets that the original Super League teams, so excluding Arsenal and Tottenham, I think, wanting to restart the league but have it a promotion sort of based league. And the Champions League. Oh my God. Have you seen the format for 2024? It's essentially what the Super League was.
So less teams or?
No, it's a table. Instead of groups and knockout stages.
So everyone plays everyone.
It's basically the NBA season. It's basically the NBA format.
Oh, so there's playoffs.
Yeah, so you have a table, and if you finish in a certain ranking, you go to playoffs.
How do they have time for all that games?
They'll find a way. Don't you worry. They
play Champions League once every few weeks.
They make the cheddar. Don't you worry, my friend. But yeah, it's just football's so bad for me.
So is that confirmed that they're doing that?
Look, Real Madrid, both Milan clubs. I definitely want to do the Super League still. They're still very much in it. I'm not too sure about the validity of the reports, but I do know that in those reports, Manchester United, Man City, Chelsea, Man United, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool were all involved, as well as Bayern Munich. Oh, no, I don't think Bayern Munich was. But
PSG?
Yeah, PSG I don't think was. It was 12 teams. But it was basically the 12 richest teams in the world, apart from PSG.
Newcastle.
No, not Newcastle. But Newcastle could make it. It's based on promotion, I think. They sort of made adjustments to it. But, yeah, it's really, really bad, the state of football and where it's going. It's just so money-driven. It's being driven by bankers. It's being driven by billionaires.
Yeah, and they're talking about World Cup every 2 years.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
That's just awful. Can we not just keep it the way it is? And Florentino Perez was, I think his name is whoever the Real Madrid sort of CEO is. He said, well, we're losing the young fans of football. We need to change it. And I'm like, mate, I'm a young fan of football. I like it the way it is. I like top four gets Champions League. You have group stages, and then you go to knockout rounds. I like the way it is, where anybody can get in there. And it's not based on money. It's not based on whoever has football is kind of like that, especially in France and
I do understand that, but also as more of a casual fan, you do enjoy seeing Real Madrid play Barcelona.
Yeah, no, but you like it on occasion though. That's the thing. It becomes boring and repetitive if you see Messi, Ronaldo. If Messi, Ronaldo played every 3 weeks, it'd get boring.
I don't know if it would, to be honest.
See, you're just a bitch though.
How would that get boring?
The beauty of football is that it's it's so much different than basketball, I think. It needs to be sort of said. Now, the basketball format and the NBA format works for the NBA. It's based on franchises that came up in the, through the emergence of the NBA in the 60s, and it was kind of like that. But the thing with football is it's cultural. It's much more cultural than American sports are. And you have teams and generations of fans that have supported a certain football club for so long. And and it might not be like Manchester United. It might be Birmingham. It might be, Luton. You have generations of fans that support it. And the impact that this has, not only on us as fans, Man United fans, watching this fucking shite that we probably play in Abu Dhabi every 2 weeks, but the Leicester fans, the Wolves fans, these fans that love football, that are and these clubs are so supported by their fans, they'll get no revenue from the Premier League. They'll get no revenue from... You think anyone's watching the French league without PSG? You think anyone's watching the Spanish league without Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid and Barcelona? No, they're not watching it. The revenue would be so much worse in those leagues, and the trickle-down effect onto lower leagues, they'd be all gone. There'd be no lower leagues. There'd be no sort of championship, and it'd be a sort of a semblance of a Premier League. Leicester would be winning a title each year. It'd be just such a boring scenario, and the effect that it has, and they say it won't affect domestic leagues, but it will eventually. They say that it won't impact it. Trust me, the Super League teams in future, if they get it, say, next year, in 7-8 years down the line, they'll just exclude domestic leagues. They won't need it. They'll do it like boxing events. They'll do Man United versus Man City in Abu Dhabi. They'll do Chelsea versus Barcelona in New York. They'll make it a spectacle in which they make all the money, and real football fans won't be able to watch their team grow. And I like when we play lower teams. I don't,
because we get to destroy them.
Yeah, but it's not about that though. It's about the fact that everybody in football, every fan is made equal in football, and that fans should have the right to watch their football club play, and should have the right to watch their football team grow. If there's no point in growth, then what? If there's no hope in growth for your own individual football club, then what's the point in watching? And I think it's different to the NBA and the NFL for the simple reason that the franchise, there's one league. There's no other teams that go in and out of it. There's no other teams that are affected. There's no stories like Bournemouth who go from League One all the way to Premier League and stay there for a couple of years. There's no Sheffield stories that go all the way from League One all the way to the Premier League. There's no stories like that in which football clubs can emerge and rise and fall. And that's the beauty of football. That's the culture of football, that every team has a chance. And the fact that we're just making this stupid league to shut out all these lower clubs that don't make as much money is just ridiculous, and give more money to billionaires. I don't like it. And Champions League format's shit as well. But it's driven by the same owners that want this change, that want to make more revenue from it, and it's just, I just don't like where football's going. Mm-hmm. I like traditional football is a tradition and it's cultural, and if you change it into this commercial product, it just worsens sort of the experience for me personally. Look, I'm sure American fans or Asian fans or
Whoa,
what?
What are you saying there?
What?
That's racist.
I was at Asian countries. American. I'm talking
about... You're assuming Asian fans are going to like this?
I'm talking about Asian countries that aren't embroidered in European football culture, yes. So, it's mainly new fans. I'm not like you, who don't watch...
I'm not a new fan.
You don't watch...
I've been a fan since I was like 5 years old.
How many games do you watch?
What?
How many games do you watch?
Do I watch?
Yeah.
Yeah, now. I was more of a fan when I was 5 years old.
So... My point is, new fans might love it. Might love, like Oscar said, seeing the best players play each other each week. But the prospect of it happening, and seeing Messi, Ronaldo play once a year, and it being a spectacle, and I like that. So yeah, that's all I've got to say on that. But I just do not support either the new Champions League format or the Super League in any way, shape, or form.
Preach.
Preach to the Lord.
You're the modern day...
Preach this man...
You're the MLK of soccer.
I don't think that's true. But this man will not approve. The great Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, the greatest manager in the history of football. He would not approve of this, I'd like to say. Now, I don't know him, but yeah. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's signed to me.
I'll take your word.
The book is signed to me, so by Alex Ferguson.
Says dear
It says best
Daniel.
wishes. It says best wishes.
Daniel.
No, it says me. It says best wishes, Alex. It
Doesn't
says
say Ollie on there.
yeah, but it says best wishes, Alex Ferguson. So it's signed by Alex Ferguson. So I could sense by his handwriting, I can sense by his text, the way that he writes, the way that he sort of formulates those words, that he would not support the Super League.
Can I just ask, have you actually read this book?
You don't read the Bible, you just preach about it, you know?
Okay.
Does anyone read the Bible? Has anyone read those?
I'm sure people read the Bible.
I think you just preach about how good it is instead of just reading it. You don't.
No, I think you read it
This
and
is
then you
holy
preach
text.
about it.
You do not.
You don't want to know what the holy text actually says.
Yeah, you don't want to burn your eyes. You've got to cut your eyes out.
Actually read it.
You can't read it, dude. It just ruins the greatness of it. You can't.
Okay.
You can't feast my peasant eye. I can't feast my peasant eyes on these beautiful words that he has written. So
He wouldn't have written them, but yeah.
well, he was a part in writing them, probably.
Yeah.
You never know. He was a great man. You don't think he could write a book?
Well, he would have been saying the words. Some scribe would have been writing them.
No, I think he would have written it. I think he's that great of a man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said Bridgerton in it, so that's a classic word that he said.
Okay. All right. You want to talk about Chelsea or no?
I can talk about it quickly. Obviously, Roman Abramovich is Russian, and he does a bit of nudgy with the good old poot. So yeah, he's having to sell a lot of his assets, including Chelsea Football Club, which is probably beneficial if you're looking at it from a top 6 perspective in the Premier League. I'm kind of glad in a way, because I do want to see. I don't mind Chelsea, even though we were kind of rivals when I started watching football. When you watched, Man United versus Chelsea, especially in Champions League finals and FA Cup finals, we were always against each other. I remember Didier Drogba famously doing.
I love Drogba.
I hate him. He did a chip shot in extra time against Manchester United in the FA Cup final, and I remember crying all the way to school the same day. It was in the morning as well. It was on my birthday. Mate, it was not even joking. It was on my birthday. Drogba chipped the key, and I had to go to school. Just thinking about Drogba chipping Edwin van der Sar and scoring the winner in the FA Cup final. It was the worst day of my life. So yeah, Drogba, I don't have great memories of, but like I'm saying, Chelsea obviously had a sort of great Premier League era, you can say. They weren't big before that, but during the Premier League era, they've been fantastic and a big club. But with him selling it, I mean, a lot of people I've seen on social media, a lot of people think, well, it's not going to change that much. They're still going to have a rich owner. But trust me, we've got the Glazers. They're pretty rich, and they're not the best of owners. So, and I think Roman Abramovich, his style of sort of owning, where he just spends all this money and cuts managers like that, if any dip in form happens, I think that will change. And I think it's going to be sort of an adjustment period for Chelsea and the way they do things. So, obviously, Conor McGregor's.
But it's not like anything's changing.
Yeah, it is. Ownership is the biggest thing in football.
But it's not like they're losing Tuchel or Tuchel. How do you say it? Tuchel. And it's not like they're losing their players.
It's worse. Owners
can be, but
owners is the worst thing because it's the only permanent thing in football. Players go, managers go. The only thing that stays is owners. And owners basically hire everybody. So you have to sort of take that into account. They hire the recruitment people. They hire the scouting department. They hire the medical staff. They hire the managers. So they do all the sort of... They set up the club. If you've got a good owner, then you're set up in a way that you're made to win. Manchester United, we hired a bunch of bankers that helped the Glazers buy the club to run the club, and they've run it into the ground. So ownership's massive, and it's not as big in the NBA because you have salary caps and owners basically pay salaries up to the salary cap. So it's a lot different in American sports, but in sort of an unlimited sort of. It's not unlimited because you still got UEFA sort of policies, but yeah, it's going to be different for Chelsea, and I think they need to get a big time owner, otherwise they might fall back and turn into Manchester United. Right. So
one owner.
I'm just praying the Glazers. Look, Chelsea's a great football club. You should buy them. Just sell us. You don't need us. Chelsea are much bigger than us. They're much cooler than us.
They're much better than us.
They're like Didier Drogba.
They actually win games.
Yeah, you should buy them. I mean, Didier Drogba played in America in the MLS. I think.
Yeah.
No. So it's perfect. You know, you should.
They have an American player.
Yeah. Perfect. Pulisic he's the American Messi.
Yeah.
He's gonna do wonders. You got to buy them quick. They got to buy them now. You got to sell us first, preferably to a Saudi sheikh. But I don't mind either way.
All right. Well, one potential owner that's put his hand up is the Notorious.
It's Conor McGregor. Conor
apparently has sent in a $1.5 billion offer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Conor McGregor.
I don't know if he has much time to be owning it.
I don't think he has that much money either.
The thing is, he doesn't even really know anything about soccer.
No. He notoriously said...
He gets asked in interviews stuff about, and he's like, I don't really know.
Yeah, he notoriously said that he played football growing up, but then he realised he was too pussy. So it was too pussy of a sport, so he did fucking MMA. So, and he was a Man United fan growing up, so I don't know if he'd buy Chelsea.
Trust me, he was not a big fan of whatever.
Well, no, I think he did it because all of his mates did. In Ireland, right? You go for Liverpool or Manchester United. That's it. You don't go for any Irish teams. Irish teams suck in Ireland anyway. But those are the two teams you go for. And I think because of his mates, everyone probably around his area went for Manchester United. So he was probably a Manchester United fan. But he was never really big into football. But it'd be interesting to definitely,
Imagine Connor rocking up at a press conference for Chelsea.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Sorry, I'm late. I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it'd be funny, but he couldn't buy the whole thing. He'd have to sort of partner with a...
I think they want $3 billion, don't they?
Yeah, so he'd have to partner with numerous partners, but it'd be cool to have him sort of doing just Instagram lives of just, yeah, we bought this motherfucker. What a player.
Not sure who this guy is, but...
It's not confirmed yet, but I'm leaking the news to you all right now because you are my number one fans. But yeah, he'd be the funniest sort of owner in the
I reckon players would want to go to Chelsea.
No.
If he's the owner.
He just... he wouldn't have that much control, I don't think. I think he'd just sort of make money from it. But it'd be funny to see him go to a game and just... Yeah, it'd be funny. I'd enjoy it. But
yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Conor McGregor, tomorrow the UFC is back with a big fight. Covington versus Masvidal. Have you been watching the press conference or anything? Have you been keeping up?
Yeah, I have been. Again, I'm a casual UFC fan. I'll openly admit it. I only care about interesting fucking fights. I don't care about some number 8 ranked guy in featherweight versus the number 11th guy in feather. I just don't care. But this is obviously got very personal, and they obviously known each other for a long time. I like the sort of dynamic of it. It's very...
You like the dynamic? They
Yeah.
want to kill each other.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. I think Colby... Everyone knows that what Colby does is just like wrestling. Everyone knows it's fake. But I think Jorge Masvidal genuinely...
Yeah, he is pissed.
He's genuinely like fucking...
Because he is saying like true shit about his life. Like Colby, like, although it's a character, he's exposing his life, like stuff with his ex-wife and his kids and stuff.
Yeah. So I think Colby's going to win because he's just the better fighter. But I spoke to you about this earlier. I love fighters with great names. I can't stand a fucking Tom Smith why even go into fighting? Just go into accounting, you boring cunt. You know? Jorge Masvidal. That is a sick name. Nate Diaz. That is a sick name. If you don't have a cool name, don't fucking fight, okay? That's the number one rule. If you're born with a boring name, change it if you want to fight.
Right.
But yeah, so I have a sort of a preference towards Jorge Masvidal because I like his name.
Right.
Mainly.
Okay.
That's the main reason. But I think that Colby wins because he's just more of an all-rounder guy, and Jorge's wins. Yeah, did he beat Darren Till, didn't he?
Yeah.
So that's probably his best win, I'd say. Again, the win against Askren, that was kind of blind luck, and Askren sucks anyway. So, yeah, I like Jorge, but I never thought he was really, truly top level. I never thought he was championship level. Colby, again, I think Colby could be championship level if Kamaru Usman was in his way. So, Colby's he's, I think, top 5 pound for pound. You don't think Colby's top 5 pound for pound?
That's a big statement. He's not even on the pound for pound list.
Colby?
Yeah. He's not even on the UFC pound for pound list.
Why?
There's a lot of
I know I'm a
good
casual
fighters
here, but like...
Well, you've got 8 champions.
Yeah, but the dude is an unbelievable... yeah, but that's what I'm saying, though. In a different division, I think he'd be the champion.
I think if he's maybe top 15 pound for pound, I don't know about top 5.
But Kamaru, as much as I don't like Kamaru Usman's fighting style, I think that Colby, again, is fighting the best fighter in the UFC. So I don't really blame him for losing to the guy, and I see him dominating every other guy. So I think it's justified. If Kamaru Usman retired tomorrow, I think he'd be top 5 pound for pound.
He might be.
So I just think skill level, Colby's better. Jorge could catch him. You know, he's a dog. He's a street fighter. Jorge's surprisingly old. I didn't realize how old
he's
the
like
dude
37,
was.
38.
He's like, Jesus, I thought you were like young. I thought you were like 30,
He's been fighting for ages.
I know. He's been a street fighter. He fought with, who's the fucking old school
Kimbo
dude?
Slice.
Kimbo. Good old Kimbo.
In
That's
the
the name.
backyard.
Kimbo Slice. What a fighting name.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that who else is fighting tomorrow? Deji. Good old Dej.
Deji? What? I didn't even give my prediction.
Okay, you can do your prediction. But okay, briefly, Deji's going to win. All right. That's all we need to talk about, that shit.
All right. Yeah. Colby is my favorite fighter. I'll openly say that. Love it or hate it, I don't care. I love the character. I love what how stupid it is. It just makes me laugh because the shit he says is so dumb that it's funny. And his nicknames, they're brilliant. They're brilliant. They take about 1 second to come up with, but they're brilliant.
I mean, he's a bit too political for. I mean, I get
political.
it. I get it. I get it. You're a Trump supporter, but like, you don't have
the
to.
The thing is, Jorge's a Trump supporter as well. They're fighting over who's the bigger Trump supporter.
Yeah, but you don't have to mention it like every 3 seconds. Like,
yeah, but that's why it's funny. It's a gimmick. At the end of everything, he's like, "I would like to take this time to thank all the first responders. They're the real superheroes."
It's like, thank you, Joe Rogan, for being here. Fuck cancel culture.
Yeah, he literally does everything like a promo. But yeah, I think I've never been really a big Jorge fan either because I think he just takes himself a bit too serious.
Yeah, but he's got a cool name though.
Yeah, but he tries to bring the street life to the UFC, and it's like it's a different thing, man. You don't need to be going around.
Yeah, but he is like that. Him and Nate
punching
Diaz.
everyone every time they say something. Like,
yeah, I mean, like him and Nate Diaz is that though. They are street fighters.
Nate, not so much though.
Yeah, because he's got a lot of money.
I feel like Jorge does it more, and Nate doesn't really have the intelligence to be able to do it.
Yeah, but Nate got 2 money fights, so big time money fights. So in Conor McGregor.
Well, Jorge's had a couple.
Yeah, he's had a couple, but he's not as rich as Nate.
Maybe close, I reckon. I think Nate didn't fight for like 5 years.
Oh, that is true, but I think Nate and Jorge are sort of that street fighter that the UFC signed. So I don't mind Jorge, and if you got a cool name. Like, do whatever you want.
Like, he is a good fighter. He's very dangerous because Colby's chin's a little bit questionable, so I definitely can see him getting knocked out if Masvidal lands something clean. But I hope Colby wins, and I think he will win, probably by decision, but it's scary because he's going to have to survive 25 minutes without being caught clean because Usman's dropped him 4 or 5 times across 2 fights, and he's not really a striker. So I think Jorge hits harder and cleaner. So, yeah, he's going to have to be aware defensively, but I think he'll be able to take him down reasonably easily. And he's pretty good on his feet as well. He's underrated on his feet. He's got good striking. He was piecing Usman up at times. So, yeah, hopefully he wins, and I'll say a win.
Yeah, all my money is going... I don't have any money, so I can say this. All my money goes on Colby decision.
Yeah, I won a bet on the All-Star game, won like $40. I'm like, I don't know what to put it on though.
See, again, you can't say that when you lose like $2,000 betting.
I don't lose $2,000.
It's like, yeah, I had a $60 win. Yeah, but you also like lost the previous 70 bets.
No,
you can't do that.
I probably lose 60% of my bets.
That's not good. You're not making any money, are you?
But the money I make usually counteracts that. I do reinvest that money and lose it, but
that's what you got to do.
If we're just counting wins and losses,
if you lose, great advice. If you are losing in gambling, you just got to keep on going because eventually you'll get lucky.
It's such little money to me, you know. I really don't.
I mean, you make millions, don't you?
I'm so rich that I could not care less.
To be fair, that is the life. You know, you live the life.
I know. I make $20 an hour, and I spend $1 of that on a bet.
Yeah. Okay. It's a good investment. It's like crypto, essentially.
Yeah.
It's better than crypto, probably, or your NFTs that you decide to do. But that is another discussion for another day. My wariness over your NFT sort of description. But hey ho, is that the end of the podcast?
Unless you want to do this or you're too like fucking.
What is the? God,
just such a hater about everything.
Just
such a hater.
Just do
about
it.
everything.
Look, okay.
Well, all right. Well, biggest show right now, Euphoria.
He started watching it 2 days ago.
I know, a little bit of a different segment. I know this is a sports show, but if you didn't know anything about us, just a bit of background information. We both go to film school, so we're pretty educated to be able to talk on these sorts of things. And if you don't agree with our opinion, you're fucking wrong, all right? So, Euphoria.
Spoken like a true Oscar judge.
Yeah. Biggest show in the world right now. It's actually the second most watched show ever on HBO behind Game of Thrones. So it's popping off right now. Obviously, Zendaya smashed it this year with Spider-Man and this.
I don't think she made Spider-Man, did she? She just acted in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Look, again,
it's a very controversial show, but also...
I mean, it's not that controversial. I think it's I actually really... I liked the first season better, to be honest. The second season, it just got too, like... It got a bit too artsy-fartsy, you know? It got a bit too, like, up itself. It got a bit... It had, like, a minute panning shots of darkness on a street. Like... Of a street lamp. It do like a minute shot on a street lamp. It was a bit too much.
Just show some more drugs, man.
Yeah, just show all that hard stuff. But yeah, he watched it 2 days.
The show only just finished. Like
we went out last week, and I said to him, "Oh, have you seen Euphoria?" And he's like, "No."
Now I have.
And then all of a sudden he rocks up today. He's like, "Oh my god, dude, have you seen Euphoria, dude? It's so good." And he's playing Euphoria soundtracks, and I'm like, "Mate, you watched it 2 days ago."
It's good songs. Yeah, but I thought season 2 was good. I thought it was better than season 1.
I liked the play. I thought the play was cool.
Yeah, the play was sick. I love Lexi.
They just torpedoed so many of the characters because they refused to do certain scenes. So they just torpedoed some of their characters. So.
Yeah, but the show is getting criticism because people like my mother come up to me and say, "Oh, it glorifies drugs, man. It glorifies abuse. This is showing kids the wrong thing."
It literally does the opposite.
And I'm like, fam, are we watching the same show? You're telling me that makes you want to do drugs?
Yeah, it literally is the opposite of that. I mean, if you get convinced by a TV show to do drugs, I mean, you're not that smart upstairs anyway. You're bound to encounter drugs anyway. So I think that it wasn't. I mean,
okay. So you're just an idiot.
Yeah. I think no. You're bound to sort of take it if you're already convinced by a TV show. You're gonna do it anyway. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to call anybody an idiot apart from you. So I think that Euphoria was
It's just the latest trend, you know. It's like it's the Squid Games. I don't think it's this month.
No, I think it's bigger than that. I think Squid Games is like that sort of 1 month sort of phenomenon thing. I think this is more.
Well, there's going to be seasons of this. So,
but yeah, I'm much more excited to watch Peaky Blinders.
We can do a review of that when we see it.
Most frustrating thing in the world, the best show on television.
It's ending.
Yeah, I know. Final season. How about let's release it in one country and then let the rest of them just wait a couple months. Netflix, pull up your game, mate. Like, get the fucking rights to it.
Get the wallet out, mate.
Mate, pay the money to get it earlier, to get it when all the people in the UK get it. I'm like, seeing all these it's like spoiler alert on TikTok. Like scroll through TikTok and it's like all this recommended. It was like, oh, it's this scene with Tommy Shaw. I'm like, I don't want to watch this. I need to watch the show. Stop showing me spoilers on fucking TikTok. But yeah, it's apparently gonna be. It looks pretty good. I try and skip through it as quick as possible. I get snippets of it.
Yeah. It's been so long since I watched it. I don't even really remember what's happening.
It's the best show of all time. Nobody can tell me any different.
There's like the dude's communist, is he?
Communist.
The political dude that they're against.
No, he's fascist.
He's fascist, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of the opposite. It's like
I knew opposite. It was one of the two. I just said one.
But yeah, it's a very entertaining show, and I can't wait to watch it. I might watch it illegally. No,
once Grace died, I was kind of off it.
See, this is again another one of his stupid theories. If there are no good-looking women in the show,
if the hot chick dies, I'm out. I'm sorry.
You're gone.
I'm sorry.
That is so bizarre to me.
Why?
Because
it keeps me entertained.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to watch a Victoria's Secret fashion show then, mate. Don't watch it.
No, I'll still watch it, but it was just, it's just better.
No, it wasn't. She was a snitch, bro. Ride or die. She
was nice.
She was a snitch, though. No, fuck that bitch. She was a snitch.
Okay.
She was a snitch. No. She was a snitch. You can't have that. You can't have that. You just can't have it. I mean.
And also,
I liked
Polly died.
Oh, that was sad. Yeah.
Another rest in peace.
Yeah. I mean, so many people have died. Jeez Louise.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Is it just also? It's just us getting older and just like caring more, I guess. Like when we were.
No, it's just people dying, I think.
Yeah. To be fair, we have had a global pandemic added onto a potential World War III situation. So
we've lived through some shit.
Yeah. I mean, our generation, what a start to our adult life, huh? How beautiful. Mm-hmm. So that was a enjoyable end to the podcast, I'd say. Even though you got into Euphoria 2 days ago, I think it was great insight from you.
I probably started watching a week ago.
So as soon as I said it, you were like...
Not as soon as. Something else made me... I can't remember what made me do it. Because I got binge to watch Jurassic World because I wanted to rewatch that movie before the new one comes out.
Okay. Again,
and it was on binge, so I was like, okay, I'll watch
Why would you subscribe to something to watch Jurassic World? That is
because there was like a 14-day free trial, so I was like, okay.
Because it's not on anything else. You went all through the rigorous effort of a 14-day trial of signing up your email, doing all that shit, doing confirmation codes to watch
I did.
Jurassic World.
Yeah. Because I wanted to remember what happens before I see the new one.
God, you fucking 2 years old.
Mate, you're just a hater of everything.
No, I'm just a hater of Jurassic World.
You're a hater of everything, literally everything.
No, I liked...
The only thing you like is Peaky Blinders.
And I like Euphoria.
Well, you didn't want to talk about it. You're a hater of talking about it.
No, I'm a hater of people that show up and like act like Billy Big Balls. And
Mate, the show ended like this week. The last episode came out this week.
I mean, it was more the way that you came in and sort of lectured me on how good the show was when you started watching it 2 days ago.
I didn't lecture you on it.
You're like, oh, you should watch Euphoria.
I didn't say
I'm like, mate, I told you about it a week ago. But yeah, great podcast. Great chat about especially the Lakers and how they're sort of capitulating. I had a great read. I actually read a couple of words in it. To be
first time you've read it.
Yeah, again, like you say, you don't tarnish. I don't use my peasant eyes on this glorious book. Okay, you don't tarnish the reputation of it. So, great podcast talking about sports and Euphoria at the end, I guess.
All right.
Sad day for Australians with Shane Warne's death, but life goes on, and hopefully he's in a better place now.
Yeah. All right.
See ya.
Thanks for listening. Like, comment, subscribe.